Greetings on this day. I am Joshua ben Joseph, and I have come to bring you a message on this day of my rising up, a message to the world that Earth is changing, that what she has been for thousands of years is in the process of being renewed. The mind has said that in order to build, you must tear down. And yes, in nature, if something new is going to come forth, very often some part must pass away. But I came today to tell you that when I came to Earth over 2,000 years ago, that I came with an intention to remind the world that they were moving toward separation, that man had begun to turn from peaceful community and compassionate healing to warriors fighting and looking for better ways of destruction. I came to the earth to remember humanity to themselves in love and peace and unity. I did not come to promise salvation, for I am very clear that the laws of the divine far exceed the laws of man. I came to remind you of your free will and the fact that if you go to war, that is your choice. And if you would choose to make peace, that is also a choice. But I did not come to save you. And that is where the outer world, the logical mind, has taken its teaching over the 2,000 years or more since I was here. I have been presented in modern times as a man of a small area in the Middle East, and yet my scope, when I walked on Earth, was planetary. I traveled everywhere. And because in those times, the logical mind knows that people either walked or they rode, but they could not go far even if they took a small boat. And so I traveled by my intentions. I traveled to what is now called America, Mexico, Central America, South America. Yes, all over the Middle East and Africa and Europe, Japan, China. They were not called those things when I was here. And yet I traveled where land existed. I come to you today to remind you that the planet is changing again, for I came at the beginning of the Piscean Age. I came at the beginning of the age that is now moving away. For 2,500 years, the Piscean Age has been with you, an age of spirit, an age of religion, an age of the intuition and knowing, positive, inventive, creative, and yet also the age of victimization. The belief in the dark side that I am nothing, that I only deserve to be oppressed, that I am a victim. And victimization has taken so much away from humanity over the last 2,000 years. I came to remind you that as you live in love, as you live in peaceful coexistence, it is because the choices that you make allow you to live in that. Free will, a gift of God. God, my Father, but God did not only create I, or this would never be. God created each and every one of you joyously, with imagination, with a desire to make each one unique, sacred, special. There was a deep and divine plan in how all of this was brought together. The earth, the cosmos, has been in place for eons of time. Planets have come and gone, stars have passed, and yet the soul, created at the beginning, is eternal. You have been in many places, and you have traveled in many universes, and you have chosen as a soul to be here on earth in this time of an age passing and a new age moving into place. I came to remind you then, and I come again to remind you now, that you were gifted from the very start. You were gifted free will. Mine, a beautiful mind, a soul connected to the divine, never to be cut free. A heart And that heart center has taken many forms. In the human being today, it sits in the solar plexus, which is also the center of soul essence. For in the beginning, you thought with the body brain. You thought with the consideration of God's will. But you grew, you expanded, you changed, you moved away from that closeness, that feeling of belonging, that unity in spirit. And we watched. And when I came, I was only here a brief period of time, and yet what of that time has been shared is small. For only the last 3 years of my life have truly been revealed. There are writings, there are records that tell of my journeys, that I traveled in many places, that I actually was in touch with every part of the earth at that time. But because today the logical mind looks back, and in those times, people walked everywhere they went. Perhaps as time passed, they rode a donkey or they rode a horse. They could travel by boat on water, but only so far. And yet, I traveled the world with the intention of my own magical creation. Yes, the word magic has been separated away from me. I was something different. In fact, religions have made my life not just an example, but more of an oppression. That I was the only one that could ever be what I am and what I was. And beloved masters, that same truth applies to each and every one of you. There is not another like you. There is not another that can create the life that you will live. It doesn't matter if I'm speaking to youth or to those that are 80 or 90 or 100. And all through the middle years, when you move from the child to the young adult to the mature being, I am with you. And you are special. And you are unique, one of a kind. And logic seeks to make you small. to give you teachings and call them truth that minimize you, that diminish you. Even the stories of my life that have been brought forth, in many ways, created my life to appear that I was victimized. I was the Son of God, and the power of the ego mind destroyed me. The teachings are that after I was crucified, I was put into the ground in a cave, not buried. And 3 days, three is a mystical number. 3 days later, in the liminal time between sunrise and when the sun actually shows, I rose from the grave. I walked out. I moved the door. How could he do that? With the same power that you carry within you, the magic of the use of your mind for good will. It is not to say that your will cannot be used for negative purposes, but I assure you that as your heart and soul focus on the creation of a positive life, to hold the intentions for the good you desire, first, masters, for yourself. And as the old ways began to break apart, you will begin to become more aware of how many places logic has led you away from yourself. Logic has taken you and made you small, diminished your capabilities, brought doubt of your creations. That you could only create outwardly. Yes, woman still brings forth a child from her womb, as I was brought forth from the womb of Mary. Diminished. It is something that is desired in these times, that women will bear more children because there will be more men for war. And so on this Easter Sunday, Easter, Esther, the glow of spirit, Astarte, the goddesses, are all returning in unity. This is Easter Sunday of the year of the earth 2026. Yet in many ways the earth is much older than that because the calendars have changed so many times. And ages have come and ages have passed. And I am here as I have always been. For my desire from the very beginning was to be a beloved teacher, to understand the truth of this earth, to know her people, to feel them, to walk with them in both body of flesh and body of essence. My magic was something that I came to understand by many lifetimes of learning from other masters that had wisdom, that carried the ancient truths, that held the mysteries within their knowing, in their essence. Come on this Easter Sunday morning to tell you that you are as capable as I to create, to bring forth the understanding must be that as you create, the love, the desire for expansion, not amassing, not building more in the outer world, but expansion of your understanding of yourself within. The homecoming has been touted for lifetimes. The ascension has been minimized, limited to only a chosen few, for that story was for everyone, not a limited number. There are those that in these times are seeking to destroy as much of what has been known so that the history of this place would not be the truth of what has happened. And this has occurred over many ages. Yet in each one of you, in the cells of your being, in your DNA, you carry the records of what you have lived. You carry the memories of lifetimes. You carry the records of your deeds. And technology, in more modern times, has sought to use that against you. And yet, each one of you, each one of you is blessed by the divine that holds you close, that adores you unconditionally. Every part, every piece of creation. Those that would now seek to destroy the earth in many ways are playing a part For yes, there must be change. And humanity holds physically, emotionally, mentally to what they see, what they have gathered. Humanity holds to what I own. And yet, so many have turned to the outer world rather than to themselves. And it is time for you to turn your energy to yourself. Logic has taught you that any thought you think about yourself, anything that you desire is selfish, that you should be a giver, that you are here only for the purpose of making the lives of others better. And that has energetically torn many people from their roots. But as the Piscean age is moving away and the Aquarian age is dawning, oh yes, we have heard the news that the Aquarian age fizzled in the 20th century. It didn't go anywhere. And such is the limit of logic. As though the desires of humanity for some new entertainment to keep them from thinking about themselves. The Aquarian age was simply spoken about as a fad or a phase. Yes, it takes 100 years or more for an age to pass, one age to another. And so over the last 100 years, the age of Aquarius was moving in as the Piscean age was beginning to back away, to diminish. The scientific mind has ways of measuring and looking at things, but that brilliance is still diminished by the logical mind that disallows humanity from accepting the full scope of who you are as an individual. And these times, in this return to the Aquarian age, it is a time for you to remember deep within yourself, own within yourself, in your soul, in your heart, the glory of yourself as God's creation. God, Goddess, all that is. For over time on the earth, there has moved from the holiness of self aligned with the divine to self committed to the outer world, self believing that is all there is. Stories have been told of how God came, yes, and created the earth and left. And so humanity is a planet of spiritual orphans, just struggling and striving to make their way without any help. Because as each one has been taught to turn away from themselves, they have forgotten that they will never be alone, that they will always be in unity with divine creation. No matter where their soul may go in this universe or others, no matter what you have accomplished or not, is not how you are considered by the divine. The teachings of the measurement by works, and then the teachings of the measurement by power. And in these days, the teachings of purely sensory life as the measure. How do you look? What do you see? What can you hear? How does your sense of touch and even what others would feel if they touch you, how does that measure up? Are you beautiful by the world's standards? Are you worthy by their judgments? And logic has gradually over time led humanity away from their soul's alignment. Slightly. Eons of time have passed, and suggestions have been made that has drawn humanity away from their connection to the divine being their North Star. The polarity, the pole star that guides you spiritually, that unity, that oneness with divine creation. So I come in these times on this day when the earth is changing. She's going through the chaos of evolution. And you, as a soul, chose to be here. And I say this, and many will think within themselves, in their logical mind, I couldn't have chosen this. I wouldn't have chosen this. And yet, on this day, though you may have a plan for tomorrow, though your life may be set up on a schedule, that you have a job and a home and a family and places to go and be and do. How do you know yourself? Will you come home to your center? Will you allow yourself admittance into your own Holy of Holies. For every choice that you make is a choice of your own free will. I had no choice. They made me do it. Is a power giveaway. And oftentimes the choices feel so hard. They feel impossible. And more people have simply said, I won't make a choice. But when you surrender your own personal right to choice, that is your choice. And that is what you will live by until you remember, not here in the cranial brain, for you didn't always think there. In your soul center, in the solar plexus, the heart and the soul are now told they are there. And yet there is a body brain that thought in harmony like a triune of energy of heart and soul and brain to make choices clearly, powerfully, lovingly. Yes, with the consideration of the good of others, but through the consideration of, as I am willing to allow myself a good life, willing to allow, as my choice is to allow a good life, to move in the flow of the divine and in divine timing to receive the gifts that Spirit would bring me. Divine timing requires infinite patience, infinite patience. The faith to move forward into an unknown future requires infinite patience. And as I speak to you on this day, in the 21st century of this planet, according to the calendar, as I speak to you, you have become an impatient society. The more that technology has been released for you over the last 150 years, the more you have wanted, the more you have needed, and the less, beloved masters, you have allowed. Receiving takes too long. I have to wait. I will go out and take it away from others. And that, in these times, on this planet, is a ruling belief. If I say that everything here is mine, then you must submit to my will. And yet you were divinely made to submit only to the things that really allow you to be yourself. Come home. You've turned your consciousness out to the world. And yet, if you truly want to know who you are within, you must change the direction of the telescope. You must focus on the inner world. And I assure you, beloved masters, that though you look out and see vastness, what exists within is so much more. And what exists within you cannot be taken away except by your willingness to give it up. They made me. They can't. When you let go of your fear, you began to remember your possibility. When you let go of your smallness, you begin to remember how vast you are. When you allow yourself to accept that the Christedness lives in you, just as it lives in I. That the second coming is simply you're returning to home, not living so outward focused, but looking within and allowing yourself to discover the goodness, the passion, the power to create a new and wonderful place. My desire, my intention in my coming was to plant seeds for these times, that you would remember, I am that I am. I am one with the divine. Anything that you can think of, anything that you can remember, it's a part of you. You can create beyond the limits of modern technology. For much of what they are creating today is to falsify who you are. An imitation of you, a divine creative being. Well, religions taught, yes, they did, because in the beginning they were teachings of your truth, your sacred self, your connection to the divine, and then they began to look out, and their teachings became more in alignment with the separation. This, I say, is good, and that, I say, is bad. And yet divine love unconditional love looks at all of it and sees blessings even in the unfortunate choices of the world. You can create anything you can, but you bring it forth by what you focus on. What do you think about day in and day out? Are your thoughts about how to stop them? Are your thoughts about how to change them? Are your thoughts about how to overpower or even destroy them? Then how can you possibly expect that the good is going to just come pouring into you when your thoughts, even if it's about them, are about diminishment, control, deprivation, victimization? As you begin to put more focus on yourself, finding ways to make myself healthy, body, mind, spirit, emotions, studying ways to be more aligned with myself, asking spirit to show you within how to be in that flow of life that is filled with joy and goodness and challenges, for they are necessary and important to your strength, to your focus, to your faith. You are a master creator. Will you be a carpenter? Will you be a mason? Will you be a farmer? Will you be a builder of great things? An architect? Will you paint? Will you plow? Will you love numbers, not for the sake of proving I have more, but for the sake of how the numbers guide your true life? Astrology, a sacred science. Numerology, the language of the universe. The tarot cards that tell stories, that bring you messages of how to move in your life. They have been considered evil in a world that has become progressively more limited. The logical mind has narrowed your perspective so that it is as though you live your life like you are looking through a knothole in a fence. And you avow that what you see through that knothole is all there is. And I can assure you, dearly beloved masters, if you will have the courage to rise up and walk to the end of the fence, which more often than not is only a few steps. The world that fully exists. If you begin to walk the fence line and you go on and on and on, then ask yourself, why do I require to walk so far for revelation? What is holding me back from a perspective that shows me how large I am? Beloved masters, I walk with you as a brother, as a friend, as a teacher, but not a teacher that cannot hear you. For I understand, after many lives of going through amazing education on many different subjects, I understand the most powerful teachers are the best students in their own class. They may actually learn more than the students do because they have that field of souls, those people, to shine their ideas back to them, to share their own perspectives. And masters, every perspective requires consideration. Every perspective requires consideration. You may not like it. You may want to decide that it is not important to you. And yet, in your soul center, in your truth magnet, when you feel anger, when you feel the desire to run away, when you feel that you don't have time, those are the things that most require your consideration. Because the outer world looks for fun. The outer world looks to escape. The outer world looks for entertainment. And so many in the outer world are very, very bored because they have a limited consideration of what appeals to them. Open your heart and your soul and allow yourself to flow with the magnificent magnitude of the other. There are worlds connected with this one that you do not see. And then you began to consider yourself. You began to come home, not in the narcissistic determination that all that I want should be mine now, but in the amazement of self-discovery. And as you come home, you began to realize all the possibilities, all of the creations that you can make, that you are capable of. And you began to forgive telling yourself what you've heard from the outer world. You're not enough. You're not good enough. You don't have what it takes. Who do you think you are? Old programming into limitation. And you began to put your focus on, yes, I can. I can have joy. Now, I can be loved today. I can create wondrous things with patience, with faith. I trust myself. And as I trust myself, I feel that inner measure that shows me the path to follow. I follow it by feeling, not by thought. It becomes a thought. It becomes an opportunity. It becomes a monumental creation. But in the understanding that as I operate in divine time, I am operating truly with the will of God, Goddess, all that is. I have been called Jesus. I have been called Master. My parents, Mary and Joseph, named me Yahshua ben Joseph, or Joseph of the house of Joseph. You've had many names through many lifetimes. Consider the name that you are called by in this time. Look at its numerology. Come to understand the blueprint of your soul through your astrological chart. I am speaking of divine wisdom, not evil teachings. I am telling you of how I have moved through lifetimes and what I have been, and my most wondrous intentions for this earth to ongo in the beauty and the wisdom and the glory that she has known for so long. You are beloved unto I, unconditionally. I care for you in ways that only when you come home to yourself will you begin to comprehend, because only in your soul can you feel that connection. How many times have you said, "Oh, I do so wish that I could sit down with Jesus and have a conversation. But did you sit down? And did you call? Or did you just wish and turn your face away and go in another direction? So many wishes are made. So many needs are begged for. So much crisis is asked to be forgiven. Take this from me. I prayed in the Garden of Gethsemane. I spoke to God just as you do. If it be thy will, God, take this cup from me. I don't want to drink its bitterness. And yet, as the cock crowed 3 times, a beloved friend betrayed me. And I was taken away with a crown of thorns to be crucified. On the cross, a symbol of the earth plane, I was lifted up symbolically, showing everyone from that time forward, you have the ability to rise above the limits of the earth. You may walk upon it grounded, but you can soulfully become more. And so on the cross, I gave up everything I believed that I wasn't capable of letting go of. And as I did, I knew. I understood within myself the truth that you will live forever. And you can, by your choice, your free will, forever and ever, make your own hell or live in your own heaven. Rise up, beloved masters. It's time to move forward. In the greatest of love that is absolutely unconditional. If I would judge you, I must bear the burden of my judgments. If you judge others, you bear the burden of your own judgments. And they can be like a cross to bear. And so I come to you to speak with you a message that I spoke so many times 2,000 years ago, a message that I have spoken quietly to billions of souls throughout time. In love, without any condition. I bless you on this day to finding yourself and moving forward out of the limits of that outer illusion. Remember who you are. Know thyself. And so, beloved masters, on this day, I assure you that when you call, I am there, but only by allowing my presence to be with you will you know. If you're looking for me outwardly, you may not see me. But if you're willing to see, then possibly you might. But certainly I will come to you within always. Until we meet again, whether it be in this way, whether it be as I walk by you in a garden, or stop you on the street and give you a message. And you may say, well, what will you look like? Anyone. What will you tell me? Something you don't know, or something you know so well that you would rather others didn't know. Intuition is increasing on the planet now. The awakening is bringing people back to their sight, to see what's really there and not what was hidden behind the veils of illusion. So as I bid you a blessing, as I hold your hand, wrap my arms around you in love, I am with you. Adonai.